The trade deadline is coming up, and the whole 10-day thing does add an interesting wrinkle to that.
Yeah.
I think I've heard different times. I think I saw somewhere they believe the Grizzlies were granted this Sunday, and some people were saying it happened about a week ago, as far as them being granted the
about
exception.
A week ago.
Yeah, exactly. on a Tuesday, but yeah, there were people saying that it was it's different times when it happened, but it didn't happen this morning. That the Grizzlies have already had this in their back pocket.
Which I would have thought they would have already had the back pocket.
Yeah,
everybody been out since early January.
Right,
so I would have thought that. Anyway.
They got this exception to be able to sign guys on 10-day waiver, 10-day contracts, whatever. So with that being said, something interesting that Chris Harrington brought up was, okay, yeah, the Grizzlies have had this for a while, but they're just now using it because they really start running out of guys.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing he said was that with the trade deadline coming up, if you sign a guy today, that 10 days goes past the trade deadline. So I'm like, all right.
Because I think I remember Kalistu on Jeff Calkins' show, right? He had mentioned that, if they make a trade and the players they make trades for can't play, they have the 10-day guys.
Yeah, you got guys who can fill in that gap or whatever. So does that make you think that, because a couple weeks, last week we came here, I was like, I don't think the Grizzlies are going to do anything. Now I got a guy that I am looking at that I think we may be about to move. And looking at them signing Trey Jemison makes me feel the same way.
Yep.
It's Tillman.
Yep. Expiring contract.
It's an expiring contract. You're worried about the luxury tax stuff anyway. If you could just kind of eliminate that whole deal with him, it kind of gets you a little bit more breathing room. I would love to see him back next year. Then I talked about last week about the ability and the value of having all your guys under contract and just working all that out next season. But how valuable is, if you sign Tillman to an $8 or $10 million deal, whatever, right? How valuable is he as a trade asset? Like, can you really move him? If you extend Luke Kennard, you can trade Luke Kennard any day of the year next year. You know what I mean?
Right.
But would you be able to move Xavier Tillman is easy if you sign him to a deal.
Right.
So I could definitely see the Grizzlies, trying to move him at the deadline and seeing where that goes.
Anthony, I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last week you talked about the connecting the dots. Seeing some of the things.
I'm a dot
out there.
connector, man.
You're a dot connector.
I told y'all Trey Jemison. I had a feeling he was coming.
You said it.
Yeah,
You was like,
it's just
saying.
Well, they call you Sain Stradamus?
Sain Stradamus, man.
Yes, sir.
Had to go and show y'all something. But go ahead.
You mentioned a potential trade with Luke Kennard. Some of the things you're seeing. Are you kind of falling back on that a little bit?
Yeah, I said that. I said that on here, right?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, I mean, I said that. I said that I don't think they're gonna do that.
Now on here, but
not on here. You might have said it on another show.
Yeah, I've changed my whole mind on that whole thing. Like at one time, I thought that Luke Kennard would be on Thursday's show. I did say that. I changed my mind in 2 days on it.
Okay,
but yeah, like I don't think at the time I was like, you could trade Luke Kennard, right, and you could clear up a lot of salary, and you could get an expiring contract, and you could get a young player on a lower deal. But now I'm looking at like the value may just be in having all your dudes with you because you got until next offseason to do that. Like if you're trying to get below the luxury tax, as long as you get that done within that calendar year, meaning within in that season, you don't have to go into the year under the luxury tax. As long as you get it done within that year. So I can see signing Luke, having an asset in your hand, in your back pocket, decide what you want to do with it. So yeah, I changed my whole thoughts on that like within a week. I thought it was 2 weeks ago, but I guess it was Tuesday. but yeah, man. But trade deadline is coming up, like I said. I don't think they're going to be able to move the Zaire Williams, the David Rodneys, the Jake LaRavias. I think those guys all will be Grizzlies. I don't think they're really in the interest of trading draft assets or draft capital to move one of those guys either. So I think we will see those guys after the deadline.